Today's topic is going to be what's really going on in the housing market. We're hearing signs that it's great. We're hearing signs that it's horrible. More signs probably that it's horrible than great. But who do you believe? When you see all this stuff in the news and you look at, you want to do a deep dive, you can find facts to basically justify whatever position you want. Is the market good? Is this a good time to be in the market? Is it bad? Is it time to get out? What do you need to do? Is it a great time to buy a rental? Is it a great time to flip properties? I can tell you from my perspective. Now, from my perspective, for those of you who don't know, I've been in this thing for about 24 years. This is like a second career for me. It is a literal second career. I took up flipping houses after I sold my primary business and retired 24 years ago. And, this has been a very lucrative, fun, exciting business. You get to help people, a lot of people, both sellers in need and buyers in need. And that number one principle for me, helping others, is really why I got into this thing. I saw an opportunity to kind of do a good turn daily, as the Boy Scouts would say, and be able to help other people along the way. That's not changed, and that's not changing anytime in the near future. First of all, that's point number one. There is many opportunities out there to help both buyers and sellers and other people in the industry. Somebody reminded me yesterday that doing what we do, we're actually putting a lot of people in a position of, having the finances to be able to do what they need to do in their life. So, as a rehabber, we're employing rehab crews. We're employing, a whole bunch of people out there, from real estate agents and escrow people to inspectors and, all this type of thing. And, people, as a result of what we're doing out there, are making their livelihood. So, from that standpoint, it's a great business to be in. Not only that, we're helping out sellers who've got, a property that may be in bad condition. In fact, most of them are, and they don't have the money and the ability to fix things. We can take care of that for them, and we're helping sellers who, are reaching for that, the old American dream, which is to try and get home ownership, obtain home ownership in some form or fashion. And, we're able to put together various types of programs because, as you guys know, we teach like 15 different ways to buy and 15 different ways to sell, not just the same old buy for cash, sell for cash, that type of thing. But a lot of those 15 ways, in fact, the vast majority, are effective and are used and utilized during a downturn in the housing economy. In other words, there are things like lease options, subject to, land contracts, agreements for deeds. There are different ways to do deals out there that the vast mainstream majority of investors don't know because, frankly, they haven't been through the ups and downs. I've been through a couple of downturns in this business, the what used to be called the dot-com crash of 2000. Then we had the big Great Recession of 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then the current thing that we're going through right now, which is, in my opinion, and I'm pretty prejudiced about this, but in my opinion, this is an artificially created deal that the government has done. I'm not from a conspiracy standpoint. It's just, as I call them, the guys who can't shoot straight, the gang that can't shoot straight, or my favorite term is the Three Stooges, because everything these guys do is intentionally harming us, and they don't see it until they look in a rearview mirror. Nonetheless, this economy currently is going to be heading towards a recession where we're not already in one. Some areas of the country, we're already in recessionary territory. I just did a video yesterday talk about stagflation. Stagflation is on the horizon, if not peaking the horizon, coming our way right now. And that has its own set of unique challenges. And, overall, if you were to look at employment numbers, you'd think things are great. More people are getting hired, jobs pay better, and there's it seems to be a competitive environment out there. We're kind of like at an all-time unemployment low. However, the government has stated through the Fed that we have to increase unemployment. In other words, we have to terminate the employment of something like 8 to 10 million people. We've got to push them out of jobs in order to achieve our goal with regard to inflation. So taking these folks at their word, we're in for some tough times in this business, in the real estate industry, especially as a real estate investor, more so and I feel sorry for those of you, our comrades in the other side of the aisle, the realtors, real estate agents, real estate brokers, those folks have it much worse than we do, because we have the tools and the ability to actually make money and actually expand our profitability and our ability to help others during a downturn where others don't. Real estate agents, realtors, brokers, those types of folks a lot of times don't have any tools in their toolkit to take care of those kinds of situations. So they're sitting here, unfortunately, a lot of them are twiddling their thumbs waiting for the economy to get better and, trying to work on some side hustle or something like that, while we're busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest out here as real estate investors, because we've got the full toolkit. We've got all the tools necessary. And it's the use of those tools that will take all of you who are in the investing community from this, what would look like a famine situation, to a feast. Those who've been in it for a long period of time, those investors who've been there for a long period of time, including my mentor, Ron LeGrand, Blair's mentor as well, these folks who've been in there since the 80s and early 90s and things like that, they'll tell you that the most money they ever made was during a downturn. And I can tell you that that's absolutely true. The majority of the folks who understand how to handle the metrics of a downturned housing economy are the ones that are going to do well. So whether the pundits, on the nightly news are correct, or the stuff you read online is correct, or the stuff I tell you is correct, it's irrelevant. As long as you have the proper equipping, you're properly equipped to handle a downturned economy, there is just as much, if not more, money to be made during what we're going to see coming up here in the next year or so. And just to give you a little preview of that, I think foreclosures are really going to start kicking into gear third and fourth quarter this year. Stagflationary things, we talked about that. I'm saying that's going to happen later this year. The Fed just this morning announced that they may have to actually hike rates significantly higher than they've been talking about. Of course, the stock market is fighting them, going the other way. But then you read news like today, Open Door is toast. Another one bites the dust type thing, just like before them, Zillow and Redfin. Some of the iBuyers have been unable to complete their mission. To me, it looks like another kind of .com type situation where these guys spent a lot of money to acquire a lot of business and now are writing down huge losses on their balance sheet. So that model didn't work, or at least at this point in time, it didn't work. So there's a lot of things. We know what's not going to work. We know what's not going to be good. We don't know the exact timing of these things, but we do know, once again, to use a Boy Scout adage, that those who are be prepared is their adage. Those who are prepared will end up being able to get the most points on the scoreboard. You'll be able to help the most number of people. You'll be able to help yourself, your family, your community, and those that you work with. So I would encourage those of you who aren't aware of some of these other ways to buy and sell real estate to dig in. There's lots of resources that we have. There's lots of resources free out there on the internet, but look at some of these other methods and don't just poo-poo them by looking at them and say, nah, I've never heard of it, so it can't be, real. Just because you haven't heard of it, you haven't seen it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. These things have been done successfully, some of them going back to the 1880s. And, just because they are not in the mainstream, and a lot of realtors and people in the real estate community, and even the investors who haven't been through these downturns, they don't know, and they'll downplay these ideas as, voodoo, moon juice, crazy stuff, it's Bigfoot sighting type stuff, just because they've never been through it. But I've been through it. I've done a bunch of them. And I can tell you there's a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of people you can help. So go out there, get yourself some good education, learn the other ways, and keep an open mind, and you will be successful. Okay, thank you for watching. If you get a minute, I would love to hear your comments about what you think of these videos. Feel free also to put in any topics down here in the comments section, things that you'd like to hear me discuss. Any questions you want, go ahead and put in here. We'll make sure we get a video on it when we get time. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit that ring the bell button as well to get notified every time there is a new video. Thanks a lot, everybody.